Let's go. Holy shit. This thing said we were live.
Oh, this is great. Can't make this shit up.
All right, here we go, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Another edition.
There we go.
Another edition of Knicks Weekly episode 62. We're doing it live again and again and again. Severe technical difficulties, but we are here.
Oh, man.
On tonight's show, we are going to react to the Bradley Beal trade, which we already spent the first 10, 15 minutes doing already. We are going to talk about our top 5 Knicks free agency wish list. Who are the guys that you want on the Knicks, man? I'm going to give you my 5. Alex is going to give you his 5, and we will talk about it. Plus, Julius Randle talks Knicks, not with KnicksFanTV, but with Podcast P. We'll pull out some sound bites that we found interesting, that you guys found interesting, and we will react to it. Once again, this is Knicks Weekly, episode 62. Sit back, relax, hit that thumbs up button for you boys, share this video, and subscribe to the channel, man. Lock in for another great episode, man. CP the franchise, Alex Shataros on the 1s and 2s. We were literally talking to each other for about 10 to 15 minutes. and good thing for you, Al. I'm very thankful for you because you got your eyes on everything. You noticed we weren't even live. We were basically talking to ourselves. I'm looking at the chat. People are chatting. We're chatting back and forth. I'm thinking everything is cool. Boy, oh boy. One of those days, man, of extreme technical difficulties, man, make your head spin. But nevertheless, we here.
We are here. Hey, man.
Here, man.
That's what you expect from a co-pilot, right? When you fly a plane,
That's it.
you need someone who's also looking at the gauges.
That's
what we do, man. That's what we do around here.
Unbelievable, man. We went through the whole Beal thing. We were halfway through the Beal topic before we realized we weren't even live.
It is one of those days. And for everyone who checks out the NBA report, the amount of time CP is working behind the scenes to get things working with technical difficulties, good ward, my man. Good ward. God bless you, because you have to have some sort of patience. We already know that because we grow out beards, man. So you got to have a patient about it.
It does, man.
We are here. We are here to talk about everything Knicks.
So let's start one of those days, man.
From the top.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, how was your weekend, man? How'd your weekend go, man?
My weekend's good, man. I'm chilling, just enjoying the nice weather, grilling, doing everything. I'm drinking a margarita right now. Thank God, because with this type of stuff, you got to have some spirits in you, to laugh and just get through all this. But doing good, man. Chilling. We had a good conversation with Mo today on the NBA report.
Yep.
Very good debate. If you are not subscribed to the NBA report, highly, highly, highly encourage you to go over, check out that channel.
Yep.
You can find the link here on KnicksFanTV YouTube channel. Make sure to go over there, subscribe, listen. Great stuff over there. But I'm good, man. How was your weekend? Happy belated Father's Day.
Appreciate it, man.
What'd you do this weekend?
The weekend was good, man. Friday, I went to Reggae Fest at the Barclays Center, man. Classic, throwback reggae concert. I went with the family, man. Had a suite with the family. Me and the Knicks chick went, my sister, my aunt, my cousins. It was a nice family affair there. So had a good time just vibing out and keeping it low key. Saturday was pretty low key, just me and little man just hanging out, just doing Father's Day stuff, man. Just, building Legos and forts and racetracks and all that type of stuff.
Nice.
Went to the park and all of that. And then Sunday, kind of same, just low key, chilling with the family, with little man, my dad, my parents, my family and whatnot. And had a cake, had some dinner. Mom made dinner. And that was it, man. Yeah, like I said, man, just like to, sometimes less is more, just like to keep it low key and enjoy the time with the family, man. So, yeah, it was a good one. It was definitely a good one, man.
Sounds like a good weekend, man. Sounds like a good weekend. And yeah, I agree with you. Less is more. Cooking at home is better than sometimes going out to a restaurant.
Yeah.
I don't know what to put into the food, man, but I do know. Never know. Yeah. I do know what to put into my own food.
Yeah, especially when you go on those Hallmark holidays. I'm not a real big fan of the Hallmark holidays. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta just, sometimes you just do too much in the Hallmark holidays, right? And then you go to a restaurant, they do the prefix menu, they're trying to rush you in, rush you out. It's packed in there. Yeah. The quality always takes a hit. I'd rather go on an off day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the prefix menu is like, instead of like the whole catalog that you get, like, oh, look, I got 10 options.
Yeah.
It's like 4.
It's like,
and you're like, I don't like any of these 4 options, man.
It's like you back at a wedding. You get the filet mignon, you get the salmon, you get the chicken, you get the cheesecake for dessert, and you get the hell up out of there. You know? Yeah. So that was that. But as you said, NBA report, action-packed show today. We had a spirited debate on a number of topics, man. If you guys have not locked in on that channel, the NBA report is on fire right now, and we are building it brick by brick, piece by piece. And we had a great show. Shout out to Mo Muncy, who hosts the Hoop Genius podcast with former Chicago Bull NBA champion and current agent, Derrick Rose's agent, BJ Armstrong. So we had a great show with Mo Muncy. I'm working on another big guest for Wednesday, so make sure you guys tap into that as well, man. Anyway, Bradley Beal. Over the weekend, news broke Bradley Beal was traded, not to the Knicks, not to the Miami Heat, good, but to the Phoenix Suns in a deal for scraps. CP3, Landry Shamet, second-round picks, pick swaps, a couple of G-Leaguers. And yeah, that was that, man. You know, I saw that. Obviously, the interest by the Knicks was widely known. It was widely reported, but clearly it wasn't reciprocated. Seems like it was a one-team race, and not even Miami didn't seem like Miami had a chance. This was Phoenix Suns all the way, and Washington got what they paid for. They gave him a bad deal, and they got a bad deal in return. They got a raw deal in return. Straight.
It really was.
No chaser.
And the thing is, man, that it's just crazy that a team would even give a player a no trade clause. And especially like, and this is like, love Melo, all those things, man. Knicks should they didn't do right by him in a lot of ways when it came to building talent. But if you saw anything from how it went down with New York for Carmelo's last few seasons here, I don't know how you give it to another player and say, hey, you know what? You're even less than Melo.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're a good scorer. You're not even Melo's quality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of a player. Haven't really done much for the franchise in the sense of like making them even playoff relevant year in and year out without another co-star, whether it be John Wall or Russell Westbrook. Give this guy $50 million. Crazy. Absolutely insane. But hey, Knicks didn't get him. You know, for me, it's like, okay, it would have been cool if they did, depending on the price. But the way you look at it is that you still have your nucleus, still got a lot of young guys on this team. You can't, as of right now, it looks like they're about to just run it back with essentially the same crew. But we'll know later as the NBA this offseason continues to unfold. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, there's a lot of conversation right now saying that the Knicks dodged the bullet, that the Knicks, you know, are lucky that Bradley Beal wasn't on that list, because you look at the $50 million that he's owed over the next couple of seasons, the no trade clause, which carries over to the next team. And then everyone thinks about that New York Knicks price tag, right? Because it's always different.
Yeah.
The New York tax. So everyone's like, we dodged the bullet because for a guy like Beal, who hasn't really shown that he can elevate a team to just be a playoff contender, a playoff appearance team by himself, you're like, no thanks. But do you think, with all that said, do you think the Knicks actually dodged the bullet?
Can't dodge a bullet for something that you were never involved in. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you say that in a Mitchell situation, but you can't in this because he was never interested. And shout out to Fugazi $5 Super Chat says, help me understand why Washington made that trade for those assets. Seemed like they could have received something better from another team. One word, leverage. They had none. It was a one-team race. It was the Phoenix Suns and the Phoenix Suns. So it was known that with his no trade clause, with him controlling his destination, their return on their investment was going to be extremely low for a player of his caliber, of his productivity when he's healthy. They were never going to get a blockbuster deal because his list was very, very small. He wanted to go to a contender, and it seemed like he wanted to go out west. And there that is. It just, even Miami, who many felt like he liked and had relationships with, the whole Riley, aura, mystique, and throw the rings on the table. Well, didn't really care about that. So this was a one-team thing. And Phoenix, They went to Phoenix. They say, hey, what do you got? Phoenix said, hey, we got nothing. But here's some spare parts and a tire iron. And what do you think? And from what we heard, Wizards said, hey, give us Ayton. And Bradley Beal said, no, I'm not signing off on this. And so they had to take CP3, take the salary dump, and bottom the whole thing out. Not even one first round pick in the deal.
A no trade clause, man. All of that through a no trade clause. Trade. You know, there's another part that goes into like, the no trade clause. There's always a lot of moving pieces that help something like this get facilitated, right? We know about the Kevin Durant connection and recruiting. We know about the Bradley Beal no trade clause. There's another thing that I think is kind of going under the radar is that CEO of the Suns is Josh Bartelstein. Beal's longtime agent is Mark Bartelstein, which is Josh's father. Yeah. So there is some family relation there between Beal's agent and ownership in the Suns. So, you know, I think a little bit of that too, where we talk about how relationships impacts a decision and stuff like that, and negotiating, where it's like, you know, the agent essentially, this is probably the most power an agent gets to see when it's like, oh, there's a no trade clause. Awesome. I know how to dictate this thing. So you add that to the whole mix, and this is what you get. So I agree with you though. Yeah. Like you can't dodge a bullet where you're not really involved in, but I get the sentiment. It's like, just, we're happy that he didn't really want to be here, because God forbid that New York's tax does come up, and it's like, are we giving up quick, not only Washington's pick, are we giving up our own picks? Like what's going out here that we have to get Beal if this was the actual route? But I have to talk about it, man.
Right.
No Beal.
No deal, no Beal. However, how this thing does impact the Knicks is that the Knicks did acquire the Wizards' first-round pick, which was a protected top 12 pick this was a protected top 14 pick in this year's draft, which the Knicks did not get. It was a protected lottery pick. The Wizards got it, and they kept it. And then it rolls over to next year, top 12. 2025, it's top 10. And in 2026, it's top 8. Now, if it doesn't convert in 2026, it becomes a second-round pick in 2026 and in 2027. So there that goes.
Yeah, there's no, unless the Wizards become a playoff caliber team overnight, which doesn't look like it's going to happen, that pick is a wash. So
it's a wash. I mean, you can expect this team to be picking in the lottery for several years, not getting quality free agents, and going to have a hard time putting together a competitive basketball team. Anything is possible. Maybe they go out and get the next LeBron James. Who knows? But, you know, and so now this makes another conditional pick quite worthless to the Knicks right now, which is what you're finding out, man. These conditional picks, I mean, it's so hard to call, man. It's so hard to call. So you had the situation with the Mavericks pick where the Mavericks tanked it and they keep it this year.
Yep.
And now you have the Wizards who make a trade bottom out. And, yeah, you just can't call it. These conditional picks sometimes can become lemons, man.
And, you know, we also got that Pistons pick, which is probably not going to convey either. So the one that only is guaranteed is that Bucks pick, because, you know, there's going to be a good team. So they're probably not even going to be in the lottery because they got one of the best players in the world. So when you're starting to see where these teams and you're starting to negotiate draft picks and you're saying, well, I got all these draft picks, and they're like, yeah, but like, we don't know the future. Like, if you look at like a long-standing team like the Wizards, you're like, I don't really trust this team to be a playoff caliber team.
Right.
It's like, why you want a Knicks pick, right? For such a long time. It's like somehow the Knicks were just going to fall flat on their faces, and that pick is going to be right back to where it was, right? So unless they had it protected, and for such a long time, we haven't really seen that from the Knicks where it's been protected like that. But new leadership, different times, different situations. So does anyone really want a Knicks pick now because it's going to be, they're competitive, right? You think where they would land now would be 19 to the 20s. And now you say, we'll trade you a first rounder plus these draft picks. It's like, so I'm going to get picks that are in the later rounds and potentially picks from bad teams like the Wizards and the Pistons that may not even convey. And you're going to offer me a Bucks pick that is going to be in the later rounds anyway. Why do I want any of this? And so the negotiating standpoint is that, yeah, for the foreseeable future, you're not going to want that, but you're going to want the later picks because you have no idea what's happening, right, with those teams. But even still, for me, the way I look at this is that if you're doing negotiations with any team, how can you even accept these highly protected lottery picks anymore? Because we're now seeing what happens even with a good team, right? Regardless how good you think it is, the Mavericks, right? You got Luka, one of the top talents in the league with Kyrie, and you're still able to manipulate the end of the season where you don't get it. So what do these picks even mean?
What are they worth? Worthless, man. And I'm trying to think, didn't the Celtics, I don't remember how many Ainge had acquired like near the end of his run, but I think that was one of the issues that the Celtics were facing. I got to go back and check. But for the Knicks, what they're finding now is that these things are pretty worthless. Now, cross off Beal off the board, right? And if we're just sticking to this offseason, and let's stay in the big fish, pie in the sky dream, right? We're dreaming big here. So Beal is gone, never had a shot at him. Who's next? Dame? Not likely. Right, they're saying Miami wants Dame. Dame wants to stay. He's conflicted. He's confused. He's in the jet. He's writing freestyles. He wants to compete. He wants to go. He's all over the place, right? So Dame is out. Embiid, bigger pipe dream, not happening. We don't know what the Harden decision is going to be, so forget Embiid. Zach Lavine. Now, according to KCJ Hoop, who is Casey Johnson, Bulls insider, NBC Chicago, Bulls will be focused on getting a good young player, multiple first-round picks, and salary filler if they decide to trade Zach Lavine. Obviously, they want to recoup some of those draft picks that they lost in the Vucevic and DeRozan trade. Lonzo's not coming back. They got to recoup, and they got to rebuild properly. Would you go after Lavine as a plan B?
The tough thing is, man, when I look at Lavine, I like the talent of Lavine, but I'm also conflicted with his contract. I'm conflicted with his injury history. And I'm also unsure if this is, because I know the whole thing of they need a new change of scenery, right?
Yeah.
Change of scenery. This guy can get motivated once again. Is it going to be with the Knicks? I don't know, man. I feel like if you get Zach Lavine, I'm sure I could talk myself into it, but I just think about a backcourt of Brunson and Lavine, and defensively, I'm like, where do we go from here? Because you're now putting a lot of strain on Mitchell Robinson, and I'm not 100% sure about that. But what if you go the other direction where you trade RJ Barrett for Zach Lavine? I guess that could kind of work. I like Lavine's offense. I think he's a decent off-ball mover. The question just comes with defense, man. And I don't know about that knee and how well it holds up, because the mileage, if he's got to miss time, do you then have enough horses if you trade for him that you'll be fine? I just need to know what the package looks like for someone like Zach Lavine in order to see if I can get behind it or not.
Yeah.
It's very tough.
You see, this is where I mean, look, we say this all the time. Team building is not easy, right? He's due to make $40 million next year, 43 the year after that, 45 the year after that, plus a player option at 48. Plus he's got a 15% trade bonus on top of that. Shout out to Anthony Parasol. He's got a 15% trade bonus. That's tough, man. That's tough. A talented player, no doubt. But if you're going to tell me that I got to trade now quick or RJ or Grimes, plus the future picks. That's hard. And they're in a tough spot, man, because it's like they do need to upgrade in talent. They do need to upgrade in talent. The problem is that when you make these types of trades, because you only have like one bona fide star in your team right now, your depth becomes impacted tremendously. Like, look at what Denver was able to accomplish. Yes, you can point to their defense. Yes, you can point to their depth and their versatility, but it starts with not just two, but two homegrown stars, one of which is a bona fide superstar, another of which should get all-star recognition, and then you have Michael Porter Jr., right? Those are three homegrown talents. Yep. One of which you picked with the 41st pick of the draft. This is going to be the greatest draft pick of all time.
Yep.
Murray was 7th. Porter Jr., he was late lottery. It was 12, 13. How many teams passed on him?
Yep.
So, I mean, that just shows you the amount of luck that you need to be able to field a great team. You go out, you got the team for Lavine. Okay. You still need a lot. You're still not better than Boston. You're still not better than Milwaukee Bucks. You're not playing championship caliber defense. It's a tough call, man.
Tough. And I guess let's even throw in the idea that you trade Emmanuel Quickley, right? Let's say you put Emmanuel Quickley in that deal. Say they want a young guy, and you keep Grimes, put him on the bench. Like, is that still? Do you have enough defense in that starting rotation? Like, these are things that I'm looking at, and like, you also got the Josh Hart factor of it all too. Like, where does he fit in to all of this? So, because you extended RJ, right? So you extended RJ, he's getting paid, and even though he wasn't closing a lot of games during the regular season, and he picked up his play during the playoffs, you have to consider that because of his contract, he has to get some sort of substantial playing time. You're going to extend Josh Hart because you don't just trade a first-round pick just to let him walk.
All right.
So he's thinking about, we're talking about 17, 18 right there. So you're talking about two guys that's going to need to be slotted in. Like, if you trade for Lavine, then we just talk about that wing position getting even more muddier, right? Because now if you trade for Lavine, there is no way you could tell me that you're going to be sitting a guy on the bench making $50 million a year in closing. There's just no way you could tell me on that. No. If you're trading for that guy, he better be closing.
No, he's absolutely closing. He's absolutely closing.
So then, like, you think about that construction, you're like, how does this even make sense? So, like, it's always like, I like the player, but then I look at like what we have on this team and how you help Brunson, how you help RJ, how you help Randle. It's like, at what position do you go out there to like make this modification where you're adding shooting and defense? And that's where I always come back to looking that it's always like RJ and Randle. It's always those two positions, man. I'm looking at like, it's got to be one of those two positions that if you want to get good defense and good 3-point shooting, it's got to be at one of those two positions. And I know we talk about like a stretch 5, but the only stretch 5 that I'm thinking that's even capable, if you really want to go in that direction, is Brook Lopez. So it's the 3 and the 4, man. It's between RJ and Randle. Either they got to step up their 3-point shooting and their defense, or you know, one of them's is going to be moved at some point.
It's look, they're gonna have to make a move at some point, right? Like where they are right now, they're too good for a middling first round pick to help turn their fortunes around. Like, you're just going to keep drafting rotation players and average rotation players. You're never going to move the needle. Something has to give. They're going to need an upgrade. And it's either going to come at RJ or Julius's expense. I think to me, that's the only way this works. They need a wing. They need positional versatility. They need 3-point shooting. They need floor spacing. They need a lot, man. So a lot of people think, oh, well, you just two games from the Eastern Conference Finals. They need a lot. We're talking about to win a chip. to win a chip. All that nice stuff Miami was doing, all that was cool until they ran up against a buzzsaw. A true, complete team. Offense, defense, size, depth, versatility, star power. They were overmatched. So we need a lot, man. King Deej on the Discord. Let's go.
Here we go.
CP Alex.
What's
Happy
good?
Juneteenth, my brothers. Happy Juneteenth,
Happy Juneteenth,
man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Happy Juneteenth, bro.
Absolutely. And hey, look, I don't want to sound like I'm a Lavine conspiracy theorist, but I've been talking about him on the Twitter timeline since like December. So let me take everybody in here back down memory lane. CP, Alex, when Leon Rose first got hired here, the first two names that Mr. Am Begley always said that they was interested in was Donovan Mitchell and Zach Lavine. Obviously, we all understood the cost of playing a Danny Ainge game last summer would be for Donovan Mitchell. So that was an epic flame. But to be honest, it really wasn't, because obviously we see the results of the playoffs. Zach Lavine, however, after that article with KC, because I actually read it as well. Now, I always thought it would be RJ Barrett just because it's RJ Barrett's contract that would match it. But after reading that, and after this year of them talking at the trade deadline, and I was always like, well, RJ Barrett can't get traded, so he wouldn't even be in that trade after signing the contract. So now that they said, they would revisit the conversation come the offseason, and as of right now, they haven't officially or technically they haven't, but it's starting to begin to make sense to me that RJ Barrett's not included in that trade. The four people that would probably be included in that trade would be IQ or Grimes or Obi, Evan, and Derrick Rose. And the way that I read that article, I think that's what the Bulls are kind of going after. Like, we've seen it. I mean, I'm not really going to talk about the Beal thing. For any Knicks fan that was upset about the Beal thing, you're only upset about the fact of the relationships that Worldwide West had with Beal. Other than that, it was never any link here. But for me personally, these two teams have always been linked. Like, Lavine has always been linked to the Knicks. And I know what everybody's saying about the injuries. You do have to put into some type of context that he played 77 games and he was still very efficient. In the last 5 years, he's been one of the most efficient players in the league. He flirts with the 50, 40, 90 club at least 2 out of the last 4 years. So I'm not necessarily worried about that. Now, again, as everyone will say, you don't have any defenders, and you're between RJ Brunson and Randle, and it's not really a defensive lineup. You're asking Mitch to do a lot. Agreed. But my problem necessarily for this offseason was never about defense. It's about efficiency. And when you look up efficiency, Zach Lavine sitting right there in the same box that they had Donovan Mitchell circled at when they were projected to get him. So, hey, I'm not trying to justify trading for Zach Lavine when I make these comments, CP and Alex. I'm just saying it makes a lot of sense if you go by the history of what they've been mentioned, what they've been including, what they've been looking for, and the ties now that Chicago is looking for in any type of trade. So I appreciate you two gentlemen. I'll let y'all carry on the work. But I'm just saying, you probably could get him without giving up RJ or Randle. Just got to throw that out there for everybody else to understand. Peace and love.
All right. Appreciate you, man. King Deej on the check-in.
Look, always coming in with an insightful call.
Yeah, always calling in, man. Hey, call us up, man. 657-383-1509, or hit us up on the Knicks Fan TV Discord. What do you guys think, man? Is Zach Lavine the target? Yeah, look, he's an absolute bucket, man. No, I don't think anyone's discrediting his efficiency, his scoring ability. He's a bucket. We've known this. This is who Zach Lavine has been. I think the question just is, or what I'm saying is the package that you're going to use to give up to get him, how much closer are you to a championship? I just don't see it. I still think they're in a very, very tough spot, man. They're in a very tough spot.
You got to look at, if you make that deal, are you closer to competing with a team like the Celtics and the Bucks? Because if you're not, then what does this trade really serve you? But I also get the fact that you have to shake it up, right? I also get the fact that you got to shake up the roster and you can't always bring back the exact same group. Look, we saw that in Atlanta. They brought the entire same squad back. It did not work. And sometimes squads just phase out. They run their course, and you have to continuously inject life in it in some way or another, whether that's, bringing a new player, right? Whether it be a new coach, something different has to change. Even it could be, the back end bench pieces, your 13th, 14th to 15th guy that you got to just change just to shake it up a little bit. So when I look at getting Lavine, though, it all comes back to what you're saying. Does it make you closer to the Bucks? Does it make you closer to the Celtics? Because if you're not that much closer and you're taking on a $50 million contract of a guy who's going to be in his prime, right? And then if you think like, okay, the next thing is going to come up and we're going to use this guy's contract and we're going to flip him for something else. And with the new CBA saying, hey, we're going to make it 10 times harder for you to build a roster with guys making $50 million, right? And it's not the fact that we're looking at the Suns right now who are trying to go against all those rules. And it's different, right? Talk about different levels of talent. Can you say that for Zach Lavine if you're trying to flip him down the road after you acquire him? If it runs its course here, that's the stuff I wonder. But I also get like I said, I also get shaking it up. I would not be upset if the Knicks got Zach Lavine. It always comes back to what's the price that you're going to trade for Zach Lavine,
right? What's the price? What is the price, man? Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Now, Steve Popper Newsday says, just run it back. just run it back. You got no draft pick this year. Run it back with the same team. Now, if you're going to tell me that is IQ going to take another step? Is RJ going to take another step? Does a Julius Brunson tandem take another step? Certainly possible. I think that would be.
Does Thibodeau run an offense? Do they get some 3-point shooting here? I mean, it's certainly possible they can improve. But it's also possible that they could be the same team. Or maybe they take a couple steps back. Who knows? There's no guarantees in it. But I think their best chance of success or their best chance to improve is through RJ and IQ taking another step. You need your homegrown talents and Grimes. Add Grimes into that mix. You need your homegrown talents. Yeah, Strive said don't sleep on Grimes. Coach, I'm Grimes Hive. I'm the leader of Grimes Hive. I just, I had a brain fart there. I forgot to mention him. You think about Alec Burks? It's okay.
Right. Yeah, you need those three guys to step it up. If you're going to run it back, you need those three guys to step it up.
You definitely do. And that's kind of what you're if you make that decision, that is definitely what you're banking on. And if they don't, and we see the same thing this year, it's going to be tough sledding.
Yeah. Because it's
good. You have to think, like, especially for Grimes, man, like he has to be more involved in the offense than he is already. Or like, and this is where I look at Tibbs, man, where if you're bringing this entire roster back, what is he adding to this team? Because it can't be so isolation heavy. I get in spurts. I get when it gets to the closeout of a game and you just need to get a shot up. But the fact that this team can just de facto into standing around and watching Brunson and Randle cook, it's not a way, man. That, to me, from anything that we saw from these playoffs, is that you need a free-flowing offense to help get everybody into rhythm and to give your teammates confidence. Look, talk about Bruce Brown for the Nuggets just cutting and getting some critical layups. Same thing with Christian Brown, right? Easy, just cutting to the basket, gets you 15 buckets just off of cuts, man. Mm-hmm. And for the Knicks, how many times could we say, oh, look, one guy got you 15, even 10, at least 10 points from cutting down the middle of the basketball court?
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. So I think if you're going to run it back and you're looking also for this team to take a step forward, Tibbs has to come out here and be like, all right, this is what we're going to do for offense. Okay. This is how we get a lot of people looks. Yes, Brunson, Randle, you guys are still going to be the main focal points, but we got to figure out how to get these guys involved at different spots, what their strengths are. And that's what they should be doing, but we just haven't seen that. So if you run it back, I'm also looking at Tibbs, man, because that we can't do the same thing of this whole your turn, my turn. We're all going to stand around and now just play defense when someone misses.
Right. They need an offense. They need versatility, man. They're too small at the wing. They're too small at the wing. They need some size there. They need help defensively. They need 3-point shooting. And then again, as you said, with the offense, they've got to figure out the spacing issues that are present when you have RJ, Julius, and Mitch sharing the floor, because I think it hampers the Julius Brunson pick and roll.
Yep.
You don't have enough efficiency out there. You don't have enough rim efficiency there. That's another thing as to why this offense was so bleak in terms of effective field goal percentage. Outside of Brunson and Mitch, they've got to be better at the rim. They got to be better at the rim. So I think it's difficult, man. But yeah, look, there's going to come a point in time where they're going to have to do something, because the likelihood of them just growing and chemistrying it to the finals is not with this team. It's not going to happen.
And I see Mike Rambo in the chat asking me if I forgot about Obi, who's a good cutter. Obi is a really good cutter, but that was 2 seasons ago that we actually saw him cutting. Tibbs, for whatever reasons, asked this guy to be Steve Novak. And if that's what we're going to see out of Obi Toppin, because that's what Tibbs wants, just to get more threes up, how can I be confident that we're going to see more cutting?
Using him wrong, man. Absolutely using him wrong. And somebody in chat said we were freezing up. Yeah, I see the issue now why we're freezing up on the video side. I can't do anything about it just right now, but for future episodes, we'll be all right. I got to cut the frame rate down a little bit. So all good. No worries there, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Knicks Weekly, episode 62. On and poppin', man. CP and Alex on the 1s and 2s, man. If you guys are new in the chat, leave us a hashtag new. We will shout you guys out. And, yeah, man, we're talking Beal. We're talking Lavine. Let me go through some of these super chats. Shout out to Bill Peterfriend. Join the franchise channel memberships, man. So shout out to Bill. Shout out to Fugazi. Shout out to Haiku Homie. Here's another one of his bars. He said, Tibbs went to yoga. He touched his toes and sharded Tom Thibodeau. There you go. That's one of Haiku Homie's bars, man. That's his poet. If you're into poetry, there you go, man. Shout out to Gotcha Open, franchise channel memberships, man. Just gifted somebody a franchise channel membership. So shout out to Gotcha Open, man. Shout out to them. All right, Al. You want to do Randle stuff, or are we doing free agency? Top 5 free agents. What do we want to save for last, man? Let's do free agents, man.
Last? Free agency last?
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
You want to do free agency last? Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. Shout out to our Kirk Morgan, Eric Horn, team hashtag new. Salute to you guys, man. Salute. Okay, let's get to the Julius stuff. Julius Randle on the Podcast P podcast. He was out in LA, went to the Podcast P podcast. Was noticeably in a walking boot, as people saw there, and got a haircut too. So there was that, man. Julius chopped off the dreads, the braids, and went back to the Caesar. So if you guys are into that stuff, that's what Julius did. But here is some of the sound bites from the Podcast P episode. Let me just pull it up. Pull up number 1 here. Give me a second here. Salute. Give me 1 second. Okay, first clip we have here is Julius on the impact of Jalen Brunson in year 1. Here we go.
But JB just made the game so much easier, and I wasn't relied on every single possession to make plays. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that trust, just trust each other out there.
Yeah. Was that quick? Like, cause
it was
y'all at a point. Y'all was at a point where y'all was a top pick and roll combo.
It was day one. I don't know if it's about like a lefty thing, but like we just know
this chemistry,
what we trying to get to, and like we know how to help each other out. And in those situations, it was just like instantly like chemistry. Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing about it is like we can get a lot better, bro. Mm-hmm. We can get a lot better.
Right? Yeah, y'all only 1 year in.
Yeah, so it's like I'm excited to see how it keep going.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that was his comments on the chemistry with Brunson. Spot on. You know, the chemistry was evident from the time Brunson got here. There seemed to be like real no adjustments that were needed between those two guys. Obviously, with Julius having help here, he said it spot on. He didn't have to do everything. And that was an indictment on the team. He really had no help. There wasn't as much talent on this team. And so, and Podcast P's right, especially earlier on in the year, they were like top 5, top 10 in pick and roll efficiency. And the amount of attention that Brunson commands, the double teams, the help, that unlocks Julius, that gets Julius shots in rhythm. That's what we've been looking for to get Julius since he's been here. And that was certainly helpful, man. And I thought that's why both of those guys had, I'm going to say it, all-star years. But because they were able to play off of each other so well. And then, yes, in isolation, also killing it, right? And they also finished together in the top 10 in terms of most double teams in the season. So Julius spot on there in terms of the chemistry between both he and Jalen Brunson.
Absolutely. And I know, I don't think we have the clip for this, but even earlier in the pod or at some point somewhere in that podcast between Randle and PG, you know, Randle notes that his best seasons are when he plays with good players. And he notes that when he played with Anthony Davis, that was like one of his better seasons. And I think Julius, through this show, understands that because PG asked him, like, what was it like being the first option? He's like, I thought I was ready, but he wasn't ready. And then he goes on to make the comment saying, you know, I play better when I have better players around me. Right. So having someone like Brunson to alleviate that type of pressure just helps Randle. I think there's a slight level of awareness there. He's like, I'm not necessarily the guy. Like, I'm not the one. Like, I'm not the one. I don't think he'll ever say that just because from a player's ego perspective.
Yeah.
They'll never say that. But I think there's some recognition where it's like, I know that I need players who are like, whether it be Anthony Davis, Jalen Brunson, to help make my life easier, because to be a number one player, right? That means whatever they throw at you, you can just it doesn't phase you. You can still go out and do your thing. And I think he understands that through the show. So he's spot on with what he says here. And I think those comments, there's some awareness there.
Yeah. And it's good awareness by him. And I think that's why, I don't know if I would say I've tempered my expectations with him, because he's not the guy. He won't be the guy. And that's okay. It just means that the Knicks need guys. Brunson is a guy. They need another guy. Maybe RJ steps up to be that guy. But, you know, he realized that. Like you said, he said that it just wasn't who he was. But, you know, like I said, Brunson has certainly helped him a lot. And that was evident in their play this year. And so hopefully they can take another step up. I do think if you have better space lineups, that pick and roll, pick and pop situation between those two can be even better. It can be even better. You just need better floor spaces around them. Maybe that's even why you saw RJ running more with that second unit and Jalen and Julius playing together. But maybe you need to see, you know, what would a stretch five really look like with those guys? I love Mitch, man. I love Mitch. But it's like, man, like, what would a stretch five, a true stretch five, a Brook Lopez, as you said, what would that look like with a Brunson and Randle being able to operate like that? Even a Karl Anthony Towns, I'm not saying trade for Cat. I feel like defensively there would be issues, but putting Cat out there, that would be something to see, man. Offensively, that could really change some things.
For sure. Yeah, just that spacing alone would help. Even if you add, you know, even in minutes where if you can stagger, and this is another thing that we see through the playoffs that I think needs to be implemented more on this team, is that you see these lineups staggered. One, like Tibbs did that, but it's not always the same stagger, right? There's different rotations that Malone was throwing out there, that Spoelstra was throwing out there, that it's like, okay, you've never seen this before. Or if we do, we've done it from time to time, depending on the matchup. And I think with Tibbs, he went to these things, but it was once again just way too formulaic. Like we just knew what was coming at every single moment. Like, all right, 5-6 minutes of pass in the first quarter, Hartenstein and IQ are coming in. Okay, beginning of the second quarter, we got the entire second unit with RJ because RJ checked out, or even when it was later during the season, we saw Josh Hart check in with Hartenstein and Quick, right? So it was just too formulaic. What if we just get a shooter, right? What if you get a Max Strus on this team and you're like, okay, it's Brunson, Max Strus. You got Grimes out there, Randle, and you got Mitch. Theoretically, that's even more spacing than what we're talking about here because Strus can just knock down the three, right? So I don't know. Yeah, I would like to see something like that. You can even go that direction. It doesn't necessarily need to be a stretch five, but something along those lines. Right. I agree with you.
There it is. Okay, so that was Julius on the chemistry with Brunson. Now, this was one that got people a little bit up in arms. This was Julius on film. And does he watch film? Here we go. Here's Julius.
Just to clarify, this is the first time you've actually taken watching film seriously?
I've done it through phases in my career. Like I'll say I did it when during the quarantine. I guess it's times when I'm like gotta slow down and I can't do nothing, right? So when the season that got shut down with COVID and I was in during the whole quarantine and stuff, like I couldn't do nothing, man. I couldn't even get to the gym, right? And being in New York. So like I'm just watching, I'm like, all right, how can I improve? And just watching film, whether it's footwork, guys like Kobe, just all different things, right? And then that next year I was most improved. So, but just being able to see things and see why it works, it's super helpful.
Okay. So now people got into uproar. He doesn't watch film. That's why he's so trash. He said in phases of his career, and he said in the year before he got most improved, he started watching film. He didn't say, I don't watch film right now. He didn't say that. But he said he started picking it up during the COVID year when he couldn't go to the gym. This is a trick. I can't knock him like everybody else. Oh my God, this is the reason why he's bad. I can't knock that, man. I can't knock that, bro. I don't know because I don't know what everybody else his work ethic is in terms of film. Yeah. I can tell you as far as preparation, you can't tell me the guy don't come into the season well-conditioned and ready to go. Outside of that fluky ankle injury, he's ready. Now, from the film thing, maybe he is still watching film right now. We don't know that. I just think, you got to criticize where it's there. I just didn't see the there in this clip. You tell me what you think, man.
I think it answers a lot, in all honesty, because he talks about phases, right? You talk about like, okay, during COVID year, he's doing it now. Like, to your point, we don't know how much film he actually watches. Yeah. But saying that you're not a big film guy, if I'm going to read between the lines of what he's saying here, it's not, where we hear about Quickly, like Quickly's constantly studying film. Like he's trying to learn the defense, all these type of things. Like you hear that and you're like, oh, that's great, right? Julius does it in other ways. He prepares in other ways, physically, moves, but it does answer some things. I'm not going to lie, because I think in anything where you're recorded, and you can go back and watch what you do in positioning, especially for an athlete, like when you can watch games and see how you performed, positioning of your body, how to read a defense, to see different sets. I think that's very important. And to me, I think when I watch Randle's game, I'm like, this would explain why he has tendencies to repeat things and not understand why it doesn't work. Like we go back to his first season with the Knicks, right? And the constant spin move. It's like, how do you not see over and over and over and over again that does not work? Now, one, it could be him not being prepared to be for that role. Take that into consideration. Two, maybe he didn't watch enough film to see why everyone's ready for this and why this move would not work. Maybe if you watch some film, it's like, okay, what can I do differently to set myself up to get a better look, to get my teammates more involved? And for me, I'm like, this kind of answers for me some things where it's like he does these boneheaded moves where I'm like, how did you not see that?
Yeah.
Are you not looking to see like where your teammates are throughout the entire court on the court at all times? Because maybe if you did watch that, you can read double teams better. You can position yourself better on the court to get these more efficient looks that you're looking for. And for me, it just kind of answers some things about him as a player. Not preparation, not this stuff. But when I watch the on-court tendencies, I'm like, why is this so repetitive? And you don't realize it. This kind of answers it for me.
That's on the coach, man.
Ooh.
It's on the coach. Like, if they felt like it's an issue or that his constant mistakes is that like he's not watching film, then what do you have coaches for? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do you have coaches for? I can't imagine that they're going through an entire season. They're going through practice. They have all these cameras all over the place. They got all these gadgets and gadgets all over the place to measure analytics and do this and do that, and that they're not watching film. I have to imagine that as a team, I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in the locker room. I'm not in the huddles. I'm not in practice. I've got to imagine that they are watching film as a team to see where the mistakes are coming from. Right? And Anthony Towns was right. Like, we don't have the full context of the clip. We should probably watch the whole thing to see. I didn't watch the thing today. I was doing NBA Reporter. I had better things to do. I didn't watch the whole thing. But what I'm saying is he referring to just on his own time in the offseason, watching film? Or is he referring to being with the team as they're preparing and saying, well, he didn't really watch film?
Yeah. It's not saying that he did. I'm not saying that he never watched film. My point is that if there are gaps, right?
Yeah.
It's like you could definitely see, like you were talking about who's in the weight room more. It's like, okay, Randle clearly could just muscle. Like, jacked, right? It's like, okay, got dude's clearly in the weight room every single day. Something along those lines. Maybe film's not it. Maybe there's other things, right? I feel like there's kind of like I don't know. I don't know everything, but if there's, you can't do everything in a day, right? He has to have some sort of downtime to get ready for the game and all those other things. Now, he did say, in this podcast, I did watch it, that he does watch like highlights to get himself amped of himself to see like what worked and stuff like that before games, right? Mm-hmm. But watching highlights and stuff like that is not necessarily film. Like someone that can break it down for you saying, all right, these are tendencies of like what opponents do to you in this situation, this, that, the third, that I think is what he's getting at. And that's where I'm saying there's sometimes a gap. But I don't know, man. Like, what if he does what if he's watching film, I don't know, twice a week? Some guys are going above and beyond and watching like 7 days a week.
Right.
I don't know what the regimen is, but I'm just saying based on what I see on the court, like with the brain farts, the constant like repetitive nature where it's like, that does not work. Why are we doing that here? That's what I'm saying. Like, if he's not a big film guy, which I'm taking at that, like we know it's very vague. What's big in this whole context? I'm just saying that kind of answers my question as to why he does all these repetitive actions. That's it.
Okay, so to everybody in the chat, once again, man, hit that thumbs up button for your boys, CP and Alex on the ones and twos. Knicks Weekly, episode 62. And we are going through some of the sound bites from the Podcast Pete episode featuring Julius Randle. Obviously, we can't play the whole thing, right? You got to go there and listen to it. But we're just taking a few that the fans were reacting to today and reacting to it ourselves, man. Make sure you check out our sponsors, man. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. You'll get that lawnmower 4.0, man. Summertime is coming, so don't be out there caught lacking. Okay, next one. Here we go. Next one. Where are we here? I think I might need my glasses here, Al. Give me a second. Hang on. Where's the next one at? Next one, Julius. Here we go. Julius. This is Brunson. I did that one. Where is it? Brunson. Yeah, I don't have this one. Hang on 1 second. Give me 1 second here, folks. Let me pull this one up. For some reason, it's not pulling up. Okay, do we have it? Now, okay, here we go. This is Julius on on handling the pressure of New York. Here's Julius, courtesy of Podcast P. There we go.
How do y'all handle the media and all that fan noise and that negativity that's coming towards y'all?
First thing first, if you want like a lesson, don't do thumbs down. That didn't work out well for me. Honestly, I love it, bro. It's made me the player I am today. It all depends on how you look at it, bro. It can be tough for some people, and it's been tough for me. It's been tough for my family. The Garden it's a different animal. It done taught me so much more about myself, and as a player. Age you though, bro. It's like almost being like you the president, and they go in there and you see them and they look great, and 4 years later they got the image and they look old as hell.
Yeah,
that's how I feel right now.
How is it in New York?
If you look at it from a media perspective, like you'd be like, damn, it's hard being there. I go on walks all the time, like around the city. The actual fans interaction, like face to face, is crazy how much love it is, bro. Yeah. We ain't won. You know what I mean? We got to the second round. They like, man, they so appreciative.
There we go. That's what I'm about. The last 10 seconds of that clip. All right? Because you know, you got these people out there, these sensitive Sams, and they see a bunch of lames leaving the Garden when the Knicks get eliminated from the playoffs. They're tearing down the Julius poster. And you got goofballs like Richard Jefferson saying, I told you about all these Knicks fans. They're so bad. They're so toxic. Oh, my God, we're the worst people. The man tells you himself he's walking in the city and he's getting so much love. Yeah, there are detractors. Yes, there are negative people, especially if you dwell in the social media spaces. But by and large, it's love out here, man. We have high expectations. We want excellence. It's not that hard. When you have a 56-point game, you're getting chances of the MVP. And when you're stinking up the joint and you're turning the ball over, you're spinning into 10 people, you're going to get booed. It's a pretty novel concept. But here he is embracing it all. And like he said, he had to learn through it. He had to get through it. So I give credit to him for that one.
All right. Yeah. No, like I think his response to how he handles the media. No, it's cool that he can make light of the whole thumbs down situation. And that's out there. So good for him. But I think from that, man, like it's I want to know more of like what exactly he's learned from being in New York, because later on in the show he talks about, you know, the opportunity where he could have signed New Orleans, but he knew that they were going to get signed that year, so it didn't make sense for him. And what intrigued him about the Knicks is that the potential of you know, bringing greatness back to the city, the challenge of winning a chip here, because you know he knows how long it's been, and you know he understands what it's like to be in a major media market after being out in LA. But I think through all of this, it's nice to hear Randle say that he enjoys the fans and he understands, because later on in that whole clip, he talks about he understands the passion, the intensity of Knicks fans. You know, he's like, he talks about the environment of the Garden where players come in and they know they want to go off that night, right? They want to have a great performance. He's like, do you know what it's like to be playing in a sold out crowd night after night? Everyone's engaged. Like you hear his description of playing in New York, and you can hear that it's a positive experience for him, even with the challenges that he's had to go through because of how the fan base loves the Knicks, right? Talk about the original New York team, the only New York team in my eyes. Yeah, we got Brooklyn, whatever here, but it's the only New York team in my eyes. And so I think he understands that. He understands the passion, where it comes from. And it's just good to see him, like, I guess, his way of handling the entire situation, because it hasn't been easy for him his entire 4 years.
Look, man, this is a young generation, man. The media, the exposure, the access to players now is closer than it's ever been, especially when they dwell in the same spaces as, you know, everybody's behind the computer, everybody's on the keyboard, everybody's expressing their emotions, and sometimes, you know, a little too much for my liking, but, you know, I dwell in my own spaces, so I try to stay away from it. But so he had to learn from it. Like he said, the thumbs down situation was a direct shot at the fans and his frustration with the criticism that he had been receiving. Well, like he said, he had to learn and push forward. Now, some people may think it was a canned response, but, you know, I thought it was pretty genuine. I'm sure he does get love. I'm sure he gets hate. You know, it just comes with the territory. It's what you signed up for. So.
Yeah. I think the one thing, though, because there's some parts throughout the pod where I'm just like, you can be better at that.
Okay.
I'll give you one right now.
Yeah.
I don't think we have the clip on this one.
Okay.
He talks about you know, what Cal helped him with being out in Kentucky, right? And he says, you know, out of all the things that Cal's done, the one thing he's taught him is accountability. And when I heard that response, I was like, man, you don't show up for post-game press conferences when you have a bad night.
That's true.
I'm like, come on now. Like, if you really about that accountability life, good or bad, you're right there answering questions.
You wouldn't have had that Begley report about people being upset with his lack of accountability.
I'm just saying, man, like, so there's parts of the pod, like, you got to piece it through, man. That's it. You just got to piece it through. You got to know what to be looking out for. But, hey, you know, if this is how he feels about New York, I appreciate it.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. My guy Kane Marco, $20 super chat says, CP, let's think about this. His physical preparation is not the issue. His main issue is his mental preparation, his inability to read the defense, his inability to make good decisions. This is his problem, his, not coaches. Yes, but, you know, what is the pathway to improving that? I don't know. You know, like, there's been a lot of NBA players that have come and gone where they've just been super talented and they're ready every year. They prepare every year. But upstairs, it's just not there. You know what I mean? It's just not there. Like, how do you fix that mental aspect of the game? Is it watching more film? Is it, you know, reading more defense? Is it working with coaches? I don't know. That part of it, that's way above me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, if he's coming into camp looking like Oliver Miller, then you could say, yo, you need to do some suicides, right? Even Stevie Wonder could see that, like, you're not really ready for this.
My man said Oliver Miller.
You know what I'm saying? But, like, if he's coming in shape, he's coming in ready to go, the mental side of things, who knows how you correct that? Because some guys never get it. Some guys never get it. As much as they prepare, so I don't think it's an exact science, but we'll see.
My guy really said Oliver Miller.
Yeah, you know, I had to use the most extreme example. He's still alive, right? I hope I didn't like disrespect the dead or anything. Oliver Miller's still alive? I think so. I think he is. Man.
He's still alive, man. He's 53 years old.
Okay, there you go. The Big O. Shout out to the Big O. Shout out to the Big O. Here was another one. My guy Sean Shepard had hit me up. He was very up in arms over this one. He was very up in arms over this one. Let's pull it out. Pause. Let's pull it up. Rather, pull it up. Let me pull it up here. Hang on. Okay, here's Julius on his leadership style. Here it is. Here's what Julius had to say here.
And still, you know, be a great teammate, you know, still cheer on your dudes, offer encouragement, do things that you might not necessarily do to help your team. It kind of made me think out of the box rather than, because my leadership style is lead by example, right? I go out there, I play hard, compete. I say something if something needs to be said, but like, I'm going to show you with my actions, you know, and
okay. Your thoughts?
You really want me to go? I know why you do this to me.
I'm going to show you by my actions.
Yeah, great. Look, I'm gonna be as fair as I can for this. I am sure that he tries with the best intentions. You know, during the regular season, he's competitive, all of that nature, goes out there, plays 110%. With that said, he could be better in so many aspects. You know what I mean? Like, where it's like, how do you talk to refs? Like, you don't just start barking at guys. Like, no one wants to see you yelling in my face. Like, if you want to talk to me about why I should give you a call, barking in my face is not going to help. Being better on defense, right? I mean, we can go through that whole Miami series. Effort is there. There are nights where he's not giving 110% effort. Look, you want to talk about even what he said earlier, right? Being like, lead by example, like even with regards to film, right? If you want guys to be totally locked in, be the best player, you do it. I think when I think about the Kobe whole article, right? When I think about the Kobe article that was him and talking about how Kobe was his big influence 2 years ago, right? When he won Most Improved and all that stuff. And I think of everything that Kobe does, and you're talking about you emulate Kobe in so many aspects. Like Kobe was a guy that studied film religiously. Kobe was a guy who led by example to the T, where it's like every single waking moment of his life was about basketball. There was never a moment on the court where you could question whether or not Kobe was giving it his all on both sides of the court. And so when I hear like I lead by example, and then you go reference somebody who's like an all-time great, and that's who you look up to, like I get it. We all, us as people, we're natural hypocrites for so many things. So I'm not going to be like he's the worst person, this, that, the third. But if you're truly about that life, and you're going to reference someone like Kobe, like so many of these guys do, like you got to go be about that life. And I think like it's nice to hear out loud, but if he took a step back and actually said, "Do I do all these practices?" I would hope he'd be real enough where it's like, I could be better even more if I'm going to be a leader by example.
Yeah, no, I agree. That one was a little cappish. You know what I'm saying? That was a little cappish. Look, I thought he could have been like, "Listen, I got to do a better job." He knows that. The team called him out on it. He's got to do a better job of leading. He doesn't have to be a rah-rah guy. Everybody's not built like that. Everybody's not built like that. But leading by example would be, cutting down on the meltdowns, understanding the precarious situations that you're putting your team in when you're getting these texts and you're getting thrown out of games. Like you're an important piece to the team. You need to be as level-headed as you can be so that people do follow you as an example. You know what I mean? This is what Brunson does. Yeah, I'm sure Brunson will be vocal when he needs to be. But other than that, they follow his level-headedness, his ability to stay locked in, stay sharp, stay focused in crunch time. That's what you want your teammates to follow. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's got to be a lot better in that regard. And he could have said that. But, as you said, self-awareness isn't always a key trait for some people. So,
and I see Anthony Parasol in the chat saying, "How are we questioning his playoff performance while he's in a cast? We don't know all the details about his injury." Actually, if you listen to the podcast, I think it's interesting how he talks about when he was at Kentucky going into the draft process. He played through Kentucky through his that 1 year on a broken foot. And he didn't know he was playing on a broken foot injury that he had back in high school. So for these guys, they're capable of playing through injuries, right? We just don't know the details. So if you're on the court and you're playing, I'm expecting effort. If you're not healthy, if you're not fully healthy enough to play, don't be on the court. Plain and simple.
So to everybody in the chat, man, hit that thumbs up button for your boy CP and Alex on the ones and twos. Knicks Weekly, episode 62. We got 1,200 people in the chat, man. Let's get those likes up. We need to get up to like 1,000 likes, man. Some of you guys are just watching. You're sitting on your couch, you're lamping. You're watching on your phone, most likely. You may be watching something else. Hit that like button. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. You know the drill, man. We're in year number 6 for Knicks Fan TV. Year number 6. You guys know the drill, man. Some of you guys been watching for a long time, man. Hit that like button. Let's get those likes up. We should be at least 1,000 likes, man. 300 is way too low. This is what you guys got to do when you get in here, man. Let's go. Salute to all our new people. Salute to all of our channel members. I see Breeze Noriega in here. Shane Mack. Salute. Salute to everybody, man. Bomani UFG. Jamaica Queens in here. Salute. All our franchise. Reynaldo Maldonado. Salute. JJ always in here. JJ was in. He was in NBA Report. He's everywhere, man. He's in NBA Report. He's in KnicksFanTV. Let's go. Okay, last one I want to play of the Julius Randle clip is from the biggest takeaways from the season. Let's pull this one up. It's from the Podcast P episode. Biggest takeaway from the season for Julius Randle. Give me a second here. That's it. Biggest takeaway. Okay, here we go. Biggest takeaway. Here's Julius. Take it away. Here we go.
Season. What was your biggest takeaways?
From a team standpoint, I had to say it just show you like how balanced the league is, right?
Mm-hmm.
To where we realize, man, like just keep getting better. We not that far off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's motivating for me in a sense because like I'm like in my mind, I'm like, all right, how can I be the best version of myself to help the team win?
Mm-hmm.
So I go into the offseason, you dissect that. But it's everybody from a team. Like we got a great mixture of talent, bro. We got young dudes. We got, guys who, going into their prime. So we got a great mixture of guys, but it's like, how do you keep getting better?
Right.
So from a team standpoint, I think that's where we at. Like as individuals, how can we get better? And then we figure out, what worked in the postseason, what didn't. Like what worked versus Miami, what didn't.
Mm-hmm.
What are the teams doing that won? So like I look at Denver and I'm like, all right, what are they doing as a team to help them have such great chemistry on the court?
Right.
All right. So he says it's a balanced league. They just want to keep getting better. They're not that far off. Great mixture of talent, young dudes, guys going into their prime. He's right. Look, Knicks have a good young team. They have not a lot of nice young pieces. What their ceiling is will be key because if you watch Denver, as we talked about earlier in the show, they had a number 41 pick who nobody expected, not even Mike Malone. Nobody in the organization expected this guy to reach the height that he did, but nevertheless he did. And that is how they built their whole framework, their whole infrastructure. Jamal Murray being a number 7 pick and exploding the way that he did in the finals. Michael Porter Jr. being able to come back from 3 back surgeries and being one of the best shooters in the league, and then building from there. You have to hope that one of the young players, as we said, either RJ, Grimes, IQ, can reach close to all-star status. How likely is it? I think RJ has a shot. I don't think we've seen enough from Grimes to even think about that realistically. I think RJ has a shot. But we'll see how it goes. I also agree with him. Yeah, there was a lot of parity in the league this year. There's a lot of parity in the East. The West, look how close, seeds number, 4 through 10 or whatever it was, 5 through 10 were so close. Yeah. I thought, the fall of the Nets, like if the Nets keep that team together, does Miami even make the playoffs? You know what I'm saying? I think the Knicks were fortunate for the Nets breakup because they were able to move to 5. To me, if the Knicks stay together, if the Nets stay together, the Knicks don't move past 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was interesting the way things played out during the regular season. I mean, during the regular season into the playoffs for sure.
Absolutely. This team's got young talent, 100%. This is why I asked for Tibbs, need better offense to see what you got in these guys, right? We're closer to understanding what IQ could be. I'm not sure what Grimes can fully be, although I feel like he has a lot of promise in this league. And then for RJ, there's still a lot of questions about RJ because, RJ still has more to add to his game if he can. And I don't think we've seen RJ's full potential yet either. There's a lot of questions, man. And going into the following seasons, that's the biggest question mark for any team. Is like, if we give X player this much more usage, could they be more productive? Right? It's stuff that you start to see with Mikal Bridges out in Brooklyn. It's like, oh, he's like that. And we had him on Phoenix and we just kept him to a 3-and-D role. That's the stuff that you can't account for. And you just have to, you got to hope that you have the right coaches in place to take that chance.
Yeah. No question about it, man. And the whole RJ thing is still interesting because I think he's more effective with the ball in his hands. But then how does that impact Julius? The fit between them is not seamless whatsoever. I think they've got to work on that some more. It was a little bit better in the first year that they made the playoffs because RJ was way better as a three-point shooter. He's damn near 40%. And so Julius was able to play off him as their primary playmaker. But with Brunson here now, it hasn't been that way. They kind of operate the same spaces. It's still a tricky fit between those two guys. It's a very tricky fit between those two guys that they have to figure out. So
that's why they're such similar players, man. Such similar players, and their play style, physical, not hyper athletic, where they're playing above the rim, right? You could even say that RJ could have somewhat of a trajectory as Julius, because Julius wasn't even that great of a shooter when he came into the league on the Lakers, right? He's improved as a shooter as time has gone. Like, he wasn't even shooting this way in New Orleans from three, right? He was more of a guy in the pick and roll that was a good rim finisher. Now we're starting to see step backs, a good mid-range game. He's completely changed his game.
Yeah.
From where he started.
True.
And I look at him and RJ, go like, they're two guys who are very physical type players. They like to get downhill, especially both early on in their careers. Like, if you're comparing RJ similar track to Randle's, it's similar in that aspect. Not saying that RJ plays the same game, but it's similar where it's physical, bully ball, like to get downhill, try to get a higher percentage shot. That's what they're all about. But who knows? RJ could have a similar type of trajectory as Randle, where, given that right opportunity to be that focal point, he could be that person.
Yeah, true indeed, man. True indeed. What do you guys think about the Julius Randle interview and podcast? P? Should he have done it on KnicksFanTV? You be the judge, man. Leave a comment in the section below. Let me know what you guys think. Shout out to Julius, man. Shout out to Julius. Al, I got a text this morning, man, with some free agency news. I didn't want to put it out there, but it's out there, and that is from Media Takeout. Now, I'm not with the tea. I'm not a tea, a gossip guy, a shade room. I'm not with that. I talk Knicks, I talk NBA report. But Media Takeout, who has claimed to have been the first to drop the LeBron news when he went back to Cleveland and when he went to LA, they are reporting that Karl Anthony Towns to the Knicks is basically going to happen. You be the judge. I'm just putting it out. I'm not confirming anything. I'm just saying that is what's out there. And as a publication that has claimed to have been right before, based on their putting together of facts and speaking to people, according to the people they spoke to, Jordan Woods and Karl Anthony Towns are looking for places in the New York area.
Karl Anthony Towns and who?
Jordan Woods. That's his lady. Jordan Woods.
Okay.
Jordan Woods. Yeah. You be the judge. Like I said, if you guys are into he's buying real estate close, it must be happening, conspiracy theory, hey, that's it.
You're saying he's moving to Manhattan?
Yeah, that's what it says. Media Takeout, man.
That's a very long commute, I feel like, just to get to the Barclays Center to play for the Nets. Why in God's name would he do that?
Yeah, man. Yeah. My guy said it to me today. This was front page on Media Takeout. Can you believe it? Do you believe it? Like I said, if you're one of those people, this stuff happens every year around free agency where, they'll throw stuff out there like, this person's cousin is close to this guy, so he's coming to the Knicks, right? With Kawhi Leonard, it was his uncle's a Knicks fan, so he's headed to New York. You know what
Yeah, right.
That was a Berman classic. That was a Berman classic. That's my guy. That was a Berman classic right there. His uncle's a Knicks fan, so they're in the mix. But according to Media Takeout, they say that I didn't click on that. It would help to click on the article. There we go. This front page Media Takeout. Once you get past all the ridiculous ads they got on here it goes. It says Media Takeout was the first to report that LeBron James was returning to Cleveland 2024 after we were tipped by his wife's hairdresser. And we reported that Bron would sign with the Lakers in 2018 after we spoke with one of the teachers at his school. So these people really get their detective work on. We spoke to two people close to Karl Anthony Towns' fiance, Jordan Woods. Follow the path. They spoke to two people close to Jordan Woods. And both told us that Karl and Jordan have very recently decided to move to New York City and are looking for apartments in the Big Apple. One of Jordan's friends explained Jordan and Karl are definitely Los Angeles people, but now they're moving to New York. The pal described the couple's move to New York as, quote unquote, sudden and urgent. No one is saying why they are moving to New York and why it's so urgent. I suspect that there's some trade going down. The other friend independently confirmed to Media Takeout that Jordan has been apartment hunting in Manhattan.
I mean, players have places all over the place, man.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna make. Yeah, it just sounds like to me they just want to experience a new city. Together.
And now this is where things get interesting. According to the article, many of the Knicks podcasts, including the popular KnicksFanTV, have been speculating on the trade for the All-Star Center. So we got a shout out in here.
There we go.
Yeah. They didn't bother putting the link they didn't put the link and say, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. I'm going to write the author and let her know about herself. You know, a little backlink would have been helpful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, throw me a little alley or something. Like I appreciate the shout out, but throw me a little backlink to the article. If you're going to refer
it's not that hard to hyperlink in the article.
If you're going to refer to one of our chatters or one of our chats, throw a link in there. You know, now
I even use the clip. We have clips.
We got clips. We got content all over the place. Hit me up. I would have sent you something. So there we go. Now, people in the chat might be thinking that I had something to do with this. No, I'm not the source of this information. This is straight from Media Takeout. This is an original publication.
I don't believe you anymore.
I was not involved in the creation of this article. I was not involved as a source of this Karl Anthony Towns news.
How many people check your blog posts out? What do I need to do to get this name out there?
Oh, man, Jamaican Queen 22 said the author needs to check in. Yeah, man, throw me a little link or something. Throw a little link in there, man. You know? So, I don't know. Like I said, if you want to, play the real estate conspiracy, he's selling his house, he's buying this, they do it every free agency with every player. Right? Last year was Brody selling his mansion in L.A. or wherever he was. Hey, we'll see what happens. Did they do that
for Booker too? Did they do that for Fox?
Yeah, something, man.
Haven't we?
Katie, he's selling his place. Something's going down. Meanwhile, these guys are athletes. They got about 5-10 places. Maybe it's just market conditions, man. It's nothing more, nothing less. There's a lot of vacancies going on in New York right now, right? People bouncing to Florida. You got commercial space open. Hey, man, maybe now's the time to buy, man.
Oh yeah, maybe they just want to invest in New York City. Maybe Cat, who's from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Although he's been to Yankee Stadium once, I don't know. I don't know how much of a Yankee fan you are there if you only been to Yankee Stadium once.
Right.
But regardless, maybe he wants to experience the New York City lifestyle while he's in the offseason.
Hey, maybe. Spider's here. Spider been here. I was at the Met game. Spider was there. He's always here, man.
Yeah.
So that's that, man. You people in the chat, you take it for what it is. We'll see. See what happens. Karl Anthony Towns to the Knicks. We'll see, man.
Chat is in a frenzy. They're saying no kitty cat.
Chat, what do you think, man? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Cat to the Knicks. Are you with it, man? Are you with it? Ari said, are we taking calls? Yeah, of course we're taking calls, man. This is Knicks Fan TV, man. This is Knicks Fan TV. But first, a message from our sponsors. Yeah. A message from our sponsors, man. First and foremost, salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. And secondly, this show is sponsored by our good friends at Oakley, man. Fellas, ladies and gentlemen, actually, summertime is here. Go out there and get your latest and greatest styles from Oakley, man. You know, one of the best sunglass makers of all time, man. I'm super excited to announce the sponsorship with Oakley. Express your style and build a look that's made for you, man. Oakley's changing the game, and it's time to discover a whole new world of possibilities. Do you run? Do you golf? Do you hoop? Do you train? Just want to look at like your favorite athlete, you know, Dame Lillard, who's been in the news. He signed a deal with Oakley just last year. So they cover all the sports. They cover it all, man. All the styles, man. It's suited for everyday eyewear with frames and lenses, allowing for an extension of self, an expression of your personality. There's more than meets the eye. Did you know, Al, and people in the chat, that Oakley even offers prism lens technology? What the hell is that, you ask? It's a proprietary technology to Oakley and available for everyday settings as well. Want to know more? I know you do. So just go to Oakley.com and do your own research. When you wear Oakley, there's really more than meets the eye, man. Don't trust me. Try it for yourself. I've worn a ton of sunglasses in my day, man. Been rocking Oakley since I was in high school. So the quality's top notch and great styles. So once again, man, go to Oakley.com and check it out today. Go get your styles today. Now, the shades I'm wearing, these are supposed to go to Alex. I was supposed to mail it to him like 2 weeks ago. But they've been growing on me, man. I'm feeling them. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling them.
Yeah, I've just come to the realization I'm never getting them. So
yeah, Ignacio said I'm part of the Fart Foundation. I am feeling like my inner Bret the Hitman Hart. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of nostalgic these days, man. A lot of our heroes they're passing away. We just lost Iron Sheik, man. You know, so I am kind of feeling like old school WWF.
Macho Man,
Coco Beware type of situation. That was a little before your time. Coco Beware used to come out with the bird. He used to come through with the, you know, everybody was the crowd pleaser. You know, somebody would come out with the dog, British Bulldog come out with the dog. Coco had the bird. Yeah, it was all type of theatrics going on in those days. You know what I'm saying? Not to be confused with Charles Oakley, friend of the program. Just kidding. Okay. All right. Top 5 free agents. Here we go, Al. Let's go. Number 5 for you.
Number 5 for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, where's my list?
Yeah.
I had the list. Where'd my list go?
Ooh.
Oh, that's why I'm in the wrong chat.
Yeah.
It would help if I had the right stuff up. Okay, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
First one I'm going with is Josh Richardson.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like that.
Going with Josh Richardson because we're talked about 3-point shooting. We talk about having a 3-and-D defender or a 3-and-D type player, just a good defender on the perimeter.
Yep.
And he can give you that off the bench, man. He's been doing that for most of his career. I feel like just for what the Knicks need right now, if you're asking for somebody to come off the bench, be a solid switchable defender, give you some 3-point shooting just to space the floor. Yeah, it's not, you know, I think he shot 36 to 38% this season, somewhere around there. It's not always consistent on a night-to-night basis, but he's a pretty decent enough shooter for if you want some bench scoring. I'll go look at Josh Richardson if you're looking as the Knicks to add some versatility at that position.
Got you, man. Number 5 for me, Al. Here we go. Now, keep in mind, you know, the Knicks are over the cap. They do have the mid-level to deal with. We're not talking about
okay, man. Why is it out
deals? We're not talking about crazy deals here, right? Because people always get, you know, underwhelmed by the list. Like, oh man, this is trashless. We'll get into our trades and stuff as well, our top trades in the next show. Now, just for the money that we have, coming in at 5, Georges Niang. Yeah. Georges,
the minivan.
Yeah, the minivan. That's right. The minivan from the Philadelphia 76ers, man. 40% 3-point shooter. I'm on damn near 5 attempts. Excellent off the catch and shoots. This is a guy that you want out there with Brunson and Randle. Problem is he can't play defense worth a lick. He's named the minivan for a reason. He needs to come into camp in much better shape, and defensively he's a tremendous liability. But we're talking about three-point shooting. He's as good as they come. You get a little size out there. I'm going with Niang with number 5. I'm not giving him all 12 million of the mid-level. I'll give him, maybe half. Maybe, do they trade Obi? Does Obi end up getting traded? Maybe you needed a little 3-point depth at the 4. I'll go to Niang.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 4 for you.
Number 4 for me. I am going to look at my computer's just bugging out right now. I don't know why it's bugging out.
Yeah.
But I'm going with McDaniels. I'm going with Jalen McDaniels.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
On the Charlotte Hornets, if you're thinking about, I'm looking at Obi Toppin, man, and the fact that I just don't see a clear path for him getting the significant minutes in on this team. As much as I would love to see it, and I think he's a good talent, he's at the end of his rookie skill contract. I just feel like they're going to move off of him. If they do that, then you're going to need to replace him with another power forward that's got to come in for some spot minutes for the same amount of time that can get you some threes, play some decent defense. And I think that's McDaniels. So I wouldn't be, I know like we need to see what happens with Obi, but for McDaniels, if you're talking about Tom Thibodeau, who loves defense, you want to talk about a versatile defender, you play the 4. I'm looking at McDaniels. Now, not the best shooter.
Yeah.
Right? He's not a great shooter. And if you're looking for someone who's going to be lights out from 3, this is not him. Shoots okay, like 33%. But if you're looking for somebody who can just guard defensively, and if that's Tibbs' biggest concern with leaving Obi out there, I'm looking at Jalen McDaniels.
Okay. Number 4 for me, Al. Here's where I'm going, man. He's a player that we saw in the playoffs and that we saw quite a bit. Max Strus from the Miami Heat. Yeah, I'm going with Max Strus, man. If you can't beat him, join him. I'm going with Max Strus. Now, he didn't shoot the 3 ball that well in the playoffs. Kind of tapered off, especially in the finals. They were looking for him. He had some spotty games. It was very up and down. But throughout the course of the season and in most of the playoffs, especially during the Knicks, he's a good 3-point shooter. He's a guy that can put the ball on the floor. You saw him finishing through contact a little bit. Can mix it up. I thought we saw a gritty Max Strus, especially in certain periods, especially in the Knicks series. I think he's a guy that can help this team. I'm looking for shooting, man. I need shooting on this team. I'm going with Max Strus, man, with number 4.
All right. I like that. And I was he went from Charlotte to Philly for McDaniels. Thank you for correcting me in the chat.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate Gerard B.
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually also had Max Strus.
Okay.
You said all those same reasons. That would be my number 3 guy that I'm looking at.
Okay.
Is Max Strus. So 3-point shooting. I thought he did a decent job defending in the playoffs, man. I think he gave a lot of effort out there just for what you're asking for him from him. Once again, this is a guy who has been in the starting rotation, coming off the bench. So I think if you give him a solid role off the bench, he can be adept to that. And, we had that conversation earlier in the show. Or what does it look like when you have someone like Brunson, Grimes, Strus, Randle out there, and then you have Mitchell Robinson or even Isaiah Hartenstein, right? Like, I'm thinking about a good 4 spacing team with that. And then you talk about the pick and roll with Brunson. You talk about Brunson and Randle being able to get downhill with ease, even somebody like Grimes. Max Strus, a guy, I think he's a solid 4-spacer and really showed up in the playoffs, man. I think he could be some good help for this Knicks team if you want to go through if you want to go after him through free agency.
Okay. The chat is filling Strus, so no tomatoes in the chat, right? I caught a couple tomatoes for Niang, but none for Strus. So chat's liking Strus, okay? Number 3 for me. Here's where I'm going, man. I'm going to the reunion, the Villanova reunion. It's happening brick by brick. It's happening with Brunson, Hart. We'll send a postcard to Bridges in Brooklyn because we're never going to get him. But we can always get Dante DiVincenzo. It is said that he's going to opt out of his player option with the Warriors. I think it's about $4 or $5 million. They're not going to be able to afford him, so he's going to be a goner. I think the Knicks can get him. Had probably his best shooting year of his career here. 43% from 43% from the field, 40% from three, 9 points per game. Had, up and down postseason, but had somewhere, he had 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steal game in one of Golden State's games against the Kings. Scrapper, Nova player, plug and play ready, good defender, solid facilitator. Only issue I have, 6'4", he's another undersized. He's like a Josh Hart type. I still want size I still want more size. You got Quickly, you got Grimes, you got Hart, you got Deuce. You got a lot of guys around the same size. Yeah. He's still a little bit undersized. And like even like a lot of these guys, it's like even if it's a Dante, if it's a Strus, it's like whose minutes are gonna take? If the team stays pat, right? If they don't make any big trades, whose minutes do they take? It was just something to think about. But just for the sake of this exercise, the players who I think could help, I'm going with DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo at number 3.
Number 3. Okay. Yep. Isn't it number 3 or are we doing number? Okay.
Yeah, I'm on 3. I did Niang, I did Strus, and I did DiVincenzo. So I'm on 3. I went through 3.
All right. So it was Richardson for me, Jalen McDaniels, with Max Strus is 3. Dante is actually my number 1. So I'm gonna tell you who number 2 is, which is Seth Curry.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Instant offense off the bench. Come on, man. Solid 3-point shooting. You want to talk about having 3-point shooting on a team, space everything out. You won't miss a beat whether he's out there with Quickly. If you give Brunson some time just to rest, you have another ball handler out there. I think getting someone like Seth Curry could really help those type of issues and even prepare for losing somebody like Emmanuel Quickly if the Knicks do end up trading him to go get another player in the future, whether it be, a superstar or whoever, or just another player to add to the depth of talent for this team. I think Seth Curry is a guy that would make a lot of sense on this team, especially when it comes to space in the floor. I think offensively, if you don't want to miss a beat, go Seth Curry.
There we go. Okay. Number 2 for me, man. Now, JJ saying, say Naz Reid. They're not going to get Naz Reid, man. Unless they trade Mitch. But they like Hartenstein. I think Naz Reid is a long shot. I'm talking about guys that they could have a good chance of signing. Now, I say that, and my number 2 pick, they probably don't have a good chance of signing because he's likely going to go because the Phoenix Suns desperately need him, and that is Torrey Craig. As far as what the Knicks can afford, as far as what they need, a versatile forward, 6'7", shot close to 40% from 3, a reliable veteran 3-and-D wing. He's played for a number of teams, Phoenix, Denver Nuggets. He can get it done for you as a role player. I think Phoenix desperately needs him, and he'll be back. But he's certainly somebody that could help the Knicks, man. I'm looking for some size here in what's available and what they can afford, with the money that they have available to them right now. I'm going Torrey Craig. Torrey Craig at number 2.
All right. And I already told you already took my number 1, which is Dante DiVincenzo. I'm not gonna go through the whole spiel again of why he's good, playmaker, shooter, all those good things that you mentioned. The Villanova connection.
Yeah,
I think if you solid bench player, he was. You said he had an up and down season out in the Warriors, but I feel like playing on the Warriors, it's just it's not easy for somebody if you're not ingrained in that system and you have the time to learn it and really, if you really want to be utilizing that role. He was fine out in the Bucks. You know what I mean? So I feel like I can get back to those roots on the Knicks.
Okay. There you go. There you go, man. All
Who's
right.
your number one, CP?
Now, honorable mention.
Oh, God.
Honorable mention is my guy, Alec Burks.
Oh, brother.
Is my guy, Alec Burks. Yes, he is honorable mention. Yes, we will mention him. That's it. I put him at about 6th. All right, when we're talking about Alec Burks, we're talking about, vet minimum type of thing right now. He's at that stage of his career.
MJ Burks?
Yes. That's correct. We're talking about vet minimum. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm going honorable mention with my guy Burks, man. Shot 41% from 3 on damn near 5 attempts. You're going to put some respect on his name. 12 points per game. Don't act like he can't help this team. But he's honorable mention. I'm going to take a swing here on a player. I'm going to take a swing. And he played for the Brooklyn Nets last year. He goes by the name of Yuta Watanabe.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
6'9", shot 44% from 3 last year. Scrapper defender. I'm going with Yuta Watanabe. I'm taking a swing on Yuta Watanabe, man. Maybe they find some. Maybe they find lightning in a bottle. Maybe this was the breakout year for him that he can continue with the New York Knicks. Get me 2 of these guys off of this list with the $12 million at the mid-level. 2. Need 2 of these guys.
JJ's upset there was no Naz Reid.
Yeah, but Naz Reid, they're not going to go get another guy. They got 3 centers already. I like Naz Reid. It's not to say that I don't like Naz Reid. I like Naz Reid. I like his game. I think he'd be tailor-made for this town and for what they need. I just think they're stacked up right now.
Yeah, I mean, they signed all 3 centers last offseason.
Right. They signed 3 centers last offseason. So I just don't see it. But now, if they go out there and trade Mitch in a deal, then maybe things open up. Yuta Watanabe.
TM in the chat. Watanabe sanity.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Listen, man, we got $12 million to work with right now in vet minimum contracts. I would love to say Kuzma. I would love to say Porzingis. I would love to put all these guys on a list.
You would put KB on the list?
Of what's available. Look what's available right now for what they have. I'm saying. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Joe Ingles.
Christian Wood.
Joe Ingles, Ricardo said Joe Ingles, he's too old, man. He's old and injury prone. He could help it on it. And he's not playing no defense out there.
Dylan Brooks?
Brickfest. No, thank you. No, thank you. We don't need to add him to the construction business. The construction wing of the New York Knicks is viable. It's thriving right now. All right? It is thriving. We're bottom of the league in effective field goal percentage. It is thriving. We don't need anybody else. We need guys that can finish at the rim. We need 3-point shooters. We need size at the wing.
That doesn't scream Dylan Brooks to you?
No. That screams concrete. That screams concrete mixer and a lot of talk.
How would you feel about KJ Martin?
Oh, I'd love it. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love it, man. Bring young KJ in here. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I would like to see I'd be hyped if we got KJ on the team. He's another viable option that's out there. Obviously can improve. He's a young guy, all around, but off ball slasher, transition threat, capable defender.
Yeah. The DiVincenzo thing, I don't know. It's like who's coming out? You put him in. You gonna go 10-man rotation? Not likely.
I mean, it's possible. We saw that the first run around, right? With this team.
Yeah.
I think it's all Like let me ask you this question: if Deuce had offense, right, and you still get Josh Hart, does Tibbs go to 10-man rotation?
Yes.
I think that's the answer for DiVincenzo.
Based on what we hear, how much Tibbs likes Deuce, yes, I think he absolutely plays if he had more consistent offense, for sure. Yeah, definitely had to. He can't not play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But with
so
the
that
focus.
just answers your question for if you got DiVincenzo who comes out. It's like I think you just go a 10-man rotation and you try to figure it out. It'll be clunky. But once again, you're probably getting ready for anticipation that you're probably trading or moving somebody.
Right. I'm interested to see what they do, man. And if this Towns thing is real, then you'll need some of these guys, right? So I think these guys become a much realistic option, right?
Oh,
like if Quick goes in a deal for Towns as part of a package, and you have enough money where you're not at the apron and you still have it, then Dante becomes a much needed option. George's Niang. I put George.
Good with KJ Martin, but you chose George's Niang.
Hey, we need threes, man. We need good shooting.
Minivan. That's what we need to hear.
Yeah. I put him at 5, man. I put him at the bottom. He's at the bottom of a list in which we don't have much money.
You're better off putting Alec Burks at not even an honorable mention at 5.
Yeah, but only because like we have so many guards, man. We got so many guards. You know what I mean? I'm thinking like, what if you trade Obi? You might need some depth there.
All right.
Trade
Still
Obi, might need some depth. Get him in shape. You never know. he needs to get in shape, man. He's out there looking like a slob. Okay. All right, yeah, man. That's that. So next week we'll do top 5 trades. And as we get ready, man, Thursday draft show. Yeah, we're doing a draft show. We'll see if the Knicks get their act together and get a pick. And we'll break it all down, man. Great show. Double header today, Al. You know what I mean? Put in work, sir. NBA report, a little wardrobe change, and came back and wrapped it up for Knicks Weekly, man. So great show. Salute to our sponsors once again, man. And yeah, man, make sure you guys tap in. We'll see you guys Thursday for the draft show. Remember that the show's available in audio podcast format. No reason to miss it, man. Tap in with your guys. All the major podcast platforms. Salute to our sponsors, Oakley.com. Go to Manscaped.com. Use promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. And also, no, sorry. Never mind that. False alarm. Yeah, we'll see you guys on Thursday. Al, great show, man. We out here.